The PlayAction Podcast is fueled by Picasso's Pizza, where every night is pizza night.
The Bills' offense put up 31 points against the Dallas Cowboys in that big win, but they've also been doing really well since Joe Brady took over, averaging 28.8 points a game, 394 yards a game. I mean, what is standing out to you about this Bills offense that's all revamped, Mark?
Yeah, well, I'm glad we spent about half of the podcast last week talking about James Cook. He had it's just sensational game. Best yards from scrimmage game since Fred Jackson, I think, in the 2010 season finale. Anyway, he was sensational. I think that the Bills right now have the best offensive line they have had in Josh Allen's career and the best running back they've had in Josh Allen's career. So obviously the game against Dallas the script just went Buffalo's way. All credit to the Bills, but sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't.
I think what's been interesting under Joe Brady is seeing how he has a sense of humility in how he doesn't care what they do to win. He was talking about how, a game like this, look at Josh Allen's numbers. They're almost comical just in the sense of what the team actually did, where he had 7 passes for 94 yards. That's very un-Josh-like for this offense, but it's because they were so committed to the run and it was working. Joe Brady was saying how Josh had so much fun during a game like that just because he doesn't care what they do as long as they win. And when you have all your personalities bought in that way where the numbers don't matter as much as the ultimate goal is happening, that's huge for this team.
Yeah, and I mean the impressive thing is they can run. They're showing the ability to run under any circumstances. Run it runs. We're running it on this play no matter what they're showing us. Dallas showed likes to play sometimes 5 defensive linemen. Bill said, fine, we're going outside. They got the edge on them with Cook and Ty Johnson on those plays. They've got the duo runs, the double team blocks in the middle going, and they've got inside zone going. They've got their favorite tackle pull play with Dion going one way or Spencer Brown going the other. I think I had on the Dion pull plays, 5 plays for 47 yards and a touchdown. On the Spencer pull play, they had six runs for 56. That's 11 for 103. Now, one caveat, the Bills took it that Dallas has one glaring weakness on their team, light run defense, and the game just played out that the Bills smashed that one weakness.
I think it's such a testament to the run game that we're talking about at Deion Dawkins' highlight. Am I right? Of how offensive linemen don't always get that glory. And here we are watching him bulldoze a guy downfield over and over again.
Yeah, and props to Josh Allen. 2 plays later, Josh Allen gets the 1-yard touchdown, and he handed Deion the ball, and they, did the spike. Yeah, Deion. I mean, I think it's tough to make All-Pro because there's only 2 tackles in the league, but Deion is a contender for All-Pro. This is Deion's best season. I mean, his 21 season was awesome. His 22 season was good. This season is better than both of them for Deion.
And that's something teammates have been saying for a while now, too, which, you always want to give your guy props. But I remember Josh Allen around Thanksgiving saying he thinks Deion is playing the best football of his career and gave examples of how that opens up things for this offense. It wasn't just oh yeah, proud of Deion. It was, here's what we're doing and here's why, because Deion Dawkins plays the way he does.
It's gone right according to the blueprint on the offensive line. They've shored up the middle 3. Cyrus Torrance and Connor McGovern are upgrades over last year, and they showed Brandon Bean. He showed faith in Spencer Brown, and Spencer Brown has had an outstanding season. I think Spencer Brown's an extension candidate. And let's give due credit to Joe Brady. He has been flexible. He has given Cook more touches. In hindsight, yes, that is one thing we could maybe ding Ken Dorsey on. Could have given Cook more touches. I mean, Brady is running basically the Dorsey scheme. Dorsey, I hate to trash Dorsey because he diversified the offense. He wanted more personnel groups. He wanted it to not just be an 11 personnel group. He wanted the run game to be more diversified, and that has worked. It's just Brady has continued and extended it and given Cook more touches, and he has used motion more. And so props to Joe Brady. The Bills defense holding the white-hot Dallas offense to 10 points. That was not on my bingo card. Katherine, your top takeaways on the Bills defense, where it stands right now.
Yeah, I think we had talked a lot throughout this year about guys are going to need to step up on this defense due to injuries, due to just kind of refiguring out what this team's identity is going to be. And we've seen guys step up week after week. I've been really impressed in particular with Terrell Bernard and Rasul Douglas. Rasul obviously got here at the trade deadline. So, I don't know if step up is exactly the phrase when it's more just came in and was strong right away. But Terrell Bernard, let's start with him and the season he's having. I mean, anytime, even if he's not having the splashiest game, the defense so much hinges on him, and he's really done everything the Bills have needed him to step up in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, really, you go back to the day Brandon Beane drafted him. One of the first things he said was instincts, and that's just something that you either got it or you don't. It's hard to teach, and Bernard has just been sensational in his ability to see it, hit it. I hate to Milano-like a little bit in terms of instincts and playing fast and playing downhill. And he's got the speed to be in coverage and be a good coverage linebacker. So, I mean, you put Bernard and Milano on the field together someday. That would be pretty great.
I think, too, just what you see Terrell doing with the rest of the defense, with that role at middle linebacker. I talked to him after the game about some different plays, and he was saying, he credits, of course, the Bills' home crowd for how loud they are during the game, but saying, with a stadium that loud, he was proud of how the defense was all on the same page, how they were communicating. Sometimes he sees something before the play and is moving guys around to reset, and it ends up in some big plays for other guys. But, Terrell Bernard's the one kind of sniffing that out initially, even if someone else is making the play.
Yeah, and along those lines, credit to Sean McDermott. I mean, Dak Prescott is the Mr. Efficient, the master pre-snap read, knows where to go with the ball, sees it, hits it. And the Bills' coverage, post-snap disguise, and change in post-snap really made Prescott hold the ball and not just deliver to his first read all the time. The Bills are a zone team playing without Micah Hyde. You got to give Bernard credit for being the quarterback there and great communication and, everybody changing the picture against Dak Prescott.
I talked to a few guys from the defensive line about their sacks, and they all pretty much pointed to, well, the coverage was so good.
Yeah.
Leonard Floyd was saying, well, Dak was holding on to the ball, so I had time to get home. And that's such a credit to the coverage you mentioned and to what Sean McDermott was doing as well there to kind of set guys up.
Yeah, and I will say too that again, we talk about games. Does it go according to your script? And we've seen games for the Bills. The Bills' offense makes 2 turnovers in the first 3 drives, and all of a sudden the game is not going to your script. The Denver game, we can go through all those games. The New England game, and this game, if the Bills played Dallas, in Omaha, Nebraska on a fine weather day, 8 times out of 10, it's not going to go like this script. I mean, all props to the Bills, but you say, well, why didn't Philly just dominate them like this? Philly can run the ball. Yeah, but for Dallas, Philly didn't get the chance to Philly in Dallas. Dallas scored, boom, 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 score, score, score. Now all of a sudden the game isn't playing out that way. So it went great. The Bills defense executed perfectly. There are tougher challenges ahead. With Christmas less than a week away, we are going to give fans a quick reminder that the Buffalo News has produced a special edition book celebrating the 50-year history of the stadium in Orchard Park. And with us to break it down is Corey Desiderio, Buffalo News editor, special projects, and man of all seasons, Corey Desiderio.
Thanks, Mark. Nowhere Else You'd Rather Be makes a great last-minute Christmas gift for the new Bills fans, the older Bills fans who may have been here at the stadium right in '73, or even before at War Memorial Stadium. So it actually is sold out on our Buffalo News store, but while supplies last, you can go to Barnes & Noble, any local Barnes & Noble. They're usually a front table with a lot of different Bills books, and this is one that is featured there. So last minute gift option, check out your local Barnes & Noble for Nowhere Else You'd Rather Be.
The Bills now head to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers, but the Chargers are in the middle of quite the upheaval. So we'll talk about them some, but it's a little hard to pull too much on what we're seeing from them right now with an interim head coach. Mark, kind of what are your early thoughts on the Los Angeles Chargers at this stage in the season?
Well, before specifically we address the Chargers, this is a playoff game for the Bills. I mean, there's no wiggle room. They can't lose this game. This is a guy. As of this morning, the New York Times playoffs machine gives the Bills a 69% chance to make the playoffs. But that's really because the computer gives the Bills a better chance of beating Miami. They have to win. Basically, they probably have to win out the last three games. If they win the next two, the Chargers and the Patriots, and lose to Miami, it's still only a 51% chance to make the playoffs. And, if you go through and punch in the wins and losses, it doesn't look great. They still have to win out. So you can go into individual games. Pittsburgh knocks off Cincinnati. Okay, the odds go up from 51 to 67. New England goes to Denver and knocks them off. Okay, that raises the odds to 70%. Cleveland beats Houston. So, Las Vegas knocks off Indy. It goes up. But if the favorites win in all those games, so the Bills need to win out, and the good news for the Bills is they're facing a depleted, banged up, chaotic mess in Los Angeles.
This is a sad chaotic instead of the fun chaos they sometimes are.
I feel bad for the Chargers.
Yeah, I was looking.
If they had a fan base, I'd feel even worse about that.
I think this is a matchup from a football standpoint that a lot of people were looking forward to, of Josh Allen versus Justin Herbert, but he's now out for the season. The Chargers quarterback with an injury to one of his right index finger, can't really get around that one. So you look at kind of all, across the Chargers, they are revamping all sorts of stuff mid-season, some from firing, some because of injuries and by force, but this is not the matchup we once thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and they have other injuries. So Joey, their star edge rusher, their set number 2 star edge rusher, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, are a great edge rushing combination, but Joey Bosa's on IR, he's out. Their really quality number 2 wide receiver, Mike Williams, he's out. Their number 1 wide receiver, Keenan Allen, who is leading the league in catches right now, missed the Vegas game Thursday with a heel injury. He's iffy. Their starting tight end missed the Vegas game. Their starting center might be out. Their starting nose tackle missed the Vegas game. Their third and fourth cornerbacks are dinged up and might be out. So The Bills have to beat Easton Stick, who will be making his second career NFL start. The pride of North Dakota State.
It is interesting talking to, what is it like preparing for a team where you almost don't know anything about them at this point. There's no identity to this Chargers team. I think ultimately the Bills are going to win it here, but it is at this point in the season to go up against a team with so many injuries, the change at coach, the GM's out. I mean, what a mess, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills fans aren't crying any tears for the Chargers. They, the Bills have been there in these kinds of situations during the drought. Chargers made a bad decision when they hired Brandon Staley, defensive-minded coach, to pair him with Justin Herbert, and they picked him over Brian Dable. That's not a second guess either. Lots of people. That was a surprise hire. Lots of people second guessed it, and like the Bills in the old days, the Chargers have made a lot of bad coaching hires. They hired Mike McCoy when they could have paired Bruce Arians with Phillip Rivers, which not a second guess. Lots of people were saying this is the one that made sense, and they zagged when everybody said they should zig. So it's a mess. I think there should be a good amount of Bills fans in the beautiful LA Stadium.
I've talked to some Bills fans who are already there now. I mean, as we talk on what is today, even Tuesday morning, They got out there yesterday. So in addition to local fans, there's some who have already traveled for the long week, which, I mean, respect to make a vacation out of what could be a fun game for Bills fans from that perspective. We'll be at the game as well with all your coverage from Buffalo News. So make sure you're reading buffalonews.com, subscribing wherever you get this podcast. So you'll have a full week of lead up to this Chargers game and coverage from after as well.
Treat your team to the most flavorful pizza on game day at Picasso's Pizza. 4 great Western New York locations: Williamsville, West Seneca, Lancaster, and Blaisdell. Picasso's. We are Buffalo's Pizza since 1980. Order online today at picassospizza.net.